Have no fear, Arlando is here pushing peak prosperity is near. This video we got to you presented by me is very special, and it's on the topic of how much of an impact Gen Z has had on words and changing the whole meaning. Being 18 is a blessing and a little bit of a curse in disguise. I know what reality is. I know what the fuck I gotta do. But at the same time, I'm at the point in my life where I gotta start taking shit like life more serious. But I'm also still young enough to have fun. So with that out the way, let's get into my video. Let's get into this video.
Words were created in the dawn of humanity to help us express ourselves. Johannes Kepler was actually the first ever person believed to have developed an official language back in 1000
Death
BC.
Note.
It was known as Oitar and could only be spoken in small dialects. Human evolution then took its course at that point. Over time, people adapted these spoken dialects and started to develop their own unique languages, incorporating their cultures in these languages and how things are. Now there are over 7,800 languages spoken in over 195 countries. But you know what made that whole fucking story up? I don't know what I'm talking about. Johannes Kepler is just some random German nigga I found on Google. And Oitar isn't even a real language. It's just ratio spelled backwards. The real point of this video is that Gen Z sucks. And we like to ruin things very fucking fast. Especially when we're talking about words. So I want to name some of these words that have been run to the ground due to our generation. And the first word I want to start this video off with is ratio. Remember when ratio was a math term used to simply describe the comparison of quantities between two things? Like you have 3 triangles and someone has 2 squares. That's a 3-2 ratio right there, baby. The wholesome origin of the word could never imagine what it would be turned into. Well, actually, the origin of the word is not wholesome. It comes from math. Fuck math. Nonetheless, it never deserved the treatment that it turned into. Because instead of simply being used as a math term that helps kids with equations, it turned into a dangerous weapon used online. Now, every time you see someone say ratio, they're just trying to get above you. Seem like a king over you just because they got more likes on a Twitter post. Successfully ratioing someone online, if you don't know, is just getting more likes than them. Like, that is the whole point of a ratio. And honestly, I didn't have a problem with the word at first. Sometimes people need to be ratioed just because of the absolute dog shit that came out of their mouth. And a ratio can prove that no one agrees with them but themselves. That's the part I actually agree with.
L or W ratio?
He always finds a way to ruin everything.
You cannot be fucking biologically born a woman.
What?
So when people started to see other people successfully ratioing people, they wanted to partake in it as well. So the word progressed into being used as a means of defense against someone or just defending someone from saying some stupid shit to being used against anyone. Some people just reply to other people saying ratio for attention now, or just because they disagree with their opinion, which was not how it was supposed to be used in the first place. Some could say a small opinion, like they could say in a comment section that they simply like apples better than bananas. And some dumb mofo in the replies would try to ratio them just because they're mad at them, and that they don't agree with their opinion. The whole meaning of the word is kind of lost. But the worst part of a ratio is when it fails. Getting a failed ratio keeps me up at night more than a nightmare does, because you can never come back from a failed ratio. Then they end up counter-ratioing you and it just makes it even worse. It's permanently indoctrinated into your internet history career that you got bitched from someone with a young boy profile picture on Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm 80 years old and someone still brings up an argument saying that I got ratioed 60 years ago on Twitter by @YoungBoysMeatRider225. And what's even sadder is that kids are probably going to learn what a ratio is in a comment section before they do in a classroom. Then are going to wonder why the meaning is different from what their math teacher taught them. The next word that comes to mind for me is mid. Mid was never a positive term in general. Nowadays, I see mid being used more frequently, which is kind of throwing away the meaning for it. In the past, you would call something mid because you genuinely thought it was average. It didn't even mean it was bad, it just means that you thought it was average.
That's what it still means.
Slightly don't like mid. Or just because someone else's opinion is slightly different,
They just overuse it, never say it.
The term is just used to insult something or someone. It's lost like the oomph, like the intrinsic value to the word itself. I used to be personally offended when someone called me mid, but now I'm so used to it I don't even care. At the end of the day, I know it's people's opinion.
Nah, getting called mid is crazy. I don't know what he's talking about.
Just because you slightly don't like something doesn't mean it's mid. I see this happen a lot with shows and especially with animes. Being a part of any
realizing is
platform makes you hate life.
being part of Gen Z, they're more so. These motherfuckers are brutal. They'll call you mid.
Mid piece.
They won't call a subject mid. They'll call people mid nowadays.
Popular pretty much. Also, the worst part of the word is those dudes
That's
just
so
go on
fucked
girls'
up.
comments. The girl could be 10 out of 10 on the scale and on every aspect, and you would see some nerd in the comment section saying that she's mid. But in reality, they would never have a chance of being with a girl like that. Buddy, look at yourself in the mirror real quick. You're scrawny as shit, dirty as shit, spend your whole day on Discord or Reddit, and you wear a bow tie, my nigga. You plain and simple never had a chance anyways. And I hate to break it to you, but she would never even look in your direction. Anyways, the next word we got is mommy. My son or daughter in the future will never call their mother mommy because of y'all. Y'all took a term near and dear to people's hearts and just spun it insanely. It was simply supposed to be a wholesome way of calling your mom by another way. Saying mom or mother is kind of just
these niggas are out here calling the bitches they like mommy.
Way of saying it instead. Now people just call any girl that they think is hot mommy. The meaning is completely gone for the word. I've seen comment sections full of niggas just calling a girl mommy. What happened to decency in our human lives? Out of all things, we took a word that's supposed to be used for our mothers who we love, and now we use it in a comment section as a way to degrade ourselves. Then the word evolved and we decided to start using mommy milkers. Then I knew it was completely done for. But the next word kind of relates to this one, which is the word daddy. When I was a kid around 8 years old, I used to still call my dad daddy, and my friends would always make fun of me for that shit. I had zero clue why they made fun of me until I finally found out the truth later on. Y'all freaky asses not only turn a nickname that we use for our mothers into a different meaning, we do the same shit for a nickname that's used for dads. So now girls will do the same shit that guys do with using the word mommy. Go in a dude's comment section and comment daddy in it. It's like everything we do in life somehow turns sexual. So in the future, my kids will never call me daddy and will have to grow up wondering why I don't like being called that. Because every time they say it, I would just get flashbacks. And it wouldn't be good, kind flashbacks. Even now, I can say the word dad is slowly being ruined. And it's by none other than men themselves. I've seen dudes comment dad in other dudes' comment sections all the time. Shit, y'all have even called me dad too before. Kids in the future are just gonna have to call me bro or something. The next word that comes to my mind is period. We're not talking about that eeny weeny dot you use after sentences, which honestly half the internet never knows how to use anyway.
I never understood why.
This is something different. I used to like using the word period before in the past. I would end my sentences by saying point blank period because it kind of sounded cool. But now if I say period, people think I'm sus or zesty. It got spun into a word that's used by girls who think they're quirky, but in reality they're not. It's supposed to be used to quote unquote show you strongly agree with something now, which really was never the case. Because girls would just say period after every one of their sentences now. And even though it's spelled different because it has a T at the end of the word, they still exactly sound the same. So if I say period, people will still interpret it like I'm saying go with a T. There's no winning in this situation at all. The next word we've got in this is literally. You may be confused why this is here, but listen real quick to what I have to say. Literally in the past was used when you wanted to speak something that was factual, objectively true in that sense. So an example would be me saying something like I'm literally black, because it's fucking true. But now no one knows how to use the word literally anymore. In fact, it's just completely spun into the opposite of what it was supposed to mean. People will put the word literally in front of anything, even if it's not true. It's just used for sarcastic value at this point, which is why it's never used right 99% of the time. And as time has went on, it's gotten even worse. I remember watching Leafy's here, and he probably infected half of the youth with this phrase. If you guys were around, he said literally at least 10 times in every fucking video.
He did. I know friends who enjoyed him. I hated him. I used to think he was racist because he used to shit on the community I partake in on the stupidest reasons. Just because black people's come up to a little different, we're a little bit more extra, but
tell me you see some of these niggas that
that nigga, oh my god.
Even a real person that's living on the same planet with me. It's important to
actually. He had a problem with everyone. Leafy had a problem with everyone. There's a couple YouTubers that won't shut the fuck up and stay in their own lane.
Because anything someone does now, you would just call them an NPC for no reason. You could just see someone sitting down and you would call them an NPC. A nigga could be breathing and you would call them an NPC. Or if you do something that they think is weird, they're gonna call you an NPC. In reality, you're just the one who's an NPC. It was all TikTok trend at some point to call people NPCs. Here's some examples I found on my own. Dance if you're an NPC. Mofo's allergic to peanuts. Dance if you're an NPC. Mofos with numbers in their username. Dance if you're an NPC. Mofos who sleep. Like, can we just not do anything at this point? I can't be allergic to anything. I can't put numbers in my usernames. I can't even fucking sleep without being called an NPC. We might as well just not exist to prevent from being called an NPC.
I've got called an NPC a good amount of times.
Just make sure you know how to use it right. The next one we're gonna talk about is slay. Slay used to be a badass word to use when I was a kid. I remember it used to be really popular to say you slayed something in a game or something. Because
I hate slay. It's so zesty.
But now I'm glad I grew out of using the word. It turned into another quirky girl word to use. So now when I use the word slay, they think I'm sus or zesty once again. Because now it's just a word girls use to flatter each other and shit. They'll be like, oh my god, yes bitch, slay, oh my god, oh my god. It's pretty much in the same category as hot Cheeto girl terminology. And when it gets to that point, no one really wants to use it. The next word we got is Riz. Riz was such a good word before it got ruined. If you don't know, Riz is basically the same thing as having game with someone. Being able to talk good with someone phenomenal
Riz
just
is
being
the
stated.
best.
But now we enter the word quote-unquote unspoken Riz. This is really where it went downhill. Unspoken Riz is pretty much this. It was created by Kai Cenat and Duke Dennis. They would use their hand and wave at a girl to come to them because of their game. They could do it. And when they did it, it would work because they actually know how to pull bitches. But then eventually it reached TikTok and the whole word lost its meaning. It became a trend to act like you had unspoken Riz. And guys would just go up to girls and wave their hand and act like they would come to them. It was to test their Riz game and see if it would work. By far the worst trend I've ever seen on TikTok. Life is not a harem anime where girls will just come to you by waving your hand. Instead of getting girls by doing this, you'll just end up with a restraining order instead. It'll completely ruin the word and just trend itself. It even got to the point where Duke Dennis, who was the one who made the trend, didn't even want to be involved with it. Bro, stop trying to call females over by waving your hand. You are not cool. That is a real tweet from him. You gotta push a man far for him to denounce something that he started. But at the same time, he can't really be mad too because he actually started this entire thing. At the end of the day though, I
Riz
guess
has
the
always
record
been deeper than that.
because he did it like a couple times on stream and kids ran with it like no tomorrow. And we're going to end it off with one of the ones I hate the most. The final word is going to be ussy. If you don't know what ussy is, let me explain it to you real quick. The word ussy itself is just a suffix you put at the end of something. And I think you can guess where the word comes from. I don't want to get demonetized, but just imagine putting the P in front of the ussy. It was used as a little joke and put in front of people's names at first. But then eventually it led to being put in front of anything. People will start saying things like keyboard ussy and fun ussy and Windows ussy. Anything you can think of, they just added the word ussy in front of it because they thought it was so funny. In reality, it wasn't. I never found this funny, and I still don't understand why people even thought this is funny or still think it's funny. I think it's another one of those words that's used by girls who think they're quirky, but they're not. Honestly, I'm gonna end it right there. By the way, if you couldn't tell, I'm just joking this entire video. Like, go ahead and use these fucking words. I really don't care. Let me know what other words I missed in the comments, because there's probably a shit ton I don't even know about. Follow my Instagram and TikTok. Always love you guys consensually. And until next time, I'm out.
Alright, that was a good video. A little educational video for y'all out there. I mean, they did take Riz and ran with it though. That's all I think I gotta say.